if the Scots leave, why won't sterling go to 80 cents?
I think certainly that is a risk, and it's not just Scotland. We're looking at the Union weakened because, of course, we've got Northern Ireland also now looking at a risk for the Union. So this certainly is a potential risk.
But the Scots at least have a lot of oil. And if they leave, they're going to take the oil with them.
Yeah, but we don't know if they do leave, right?
No, I said if. We're talking about currencies and what could happen. And if the Scots leave.
If the Scots leave, the political uncertainty would certainly drive sterling lower. Now, whether or not Scotland could afford to leave is a different question. Yes, they've got oil, but of course the price of oil is a lot cheaper now than when they did their budget negotiations a couple of years ago when they had their first referendum.
But they don't have gigantic debts.
They do have a lot of social transfers from England, from Westminster. So from that point of view, you know, their budget programme is going to be quite interesting. It's not necessarily something that Scotland can afford to do, but of course that's highly debatable. Irrespective, I agree with you. I think if Scotland were to leave, if the polls began to show that the Scots wanted to leave, which they don't necessarily at the moment, then that would certainly be a worry for sterling. And also we've got to keep one eye on Northern Ireland too.
Yeah, and it's also a question of timing, right? We don't know exactly when there will be a referendum at this point, or if there will be a referendum. How do you see negotiations with the EU, between the UK and the EU going, Jim?
Well, the UK is going to leave. There's no question about that. They've said they're going to leave. Whichever way it turns out, the UK citizens say that's what they want, and that's what they're going to get. What worries me as an outside investor is, well, what will happen to the currency? What will they then do? Will the Scots then leave? Because if the Scots leave, Francine, they are going to take their oil, and you look at UK's balance of trade, balance of payments, without the oil, without the Scottish oil, what's left here, Little England, or Great Britain, or Great England, whatever we'll call it then, doesn't have much to sell to the outside world anymore.
And what